Alrighty, it's time to watch some more Clash of Immortals action here. On the top of the map, playing as Loki, his name is Recon. In the bottom side of the map, playing as Thor, his name is Nullus. The map is Step. And this is the best of 3 stage. This is day 1. We're coming back and watching some recorded games to see exactly what happened. We are going to be watching Nullus grabbing himself a Dwarven Armory. We've been seeing this quite a bit, and I'm actually not sure it's been having a huge amount of success, to be honest. I think players have been actually managing to find a lot of wins versus the Dwarven Armory opening of Thor. It's been significantly nerfed to the point that, I mean, I still feel like it's not bad, but I don't know if it's good. Like it's not like it... Well, sorry. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's OP anymore. So you've got to really play a really, very well-played game to have success with it. One idea here for Recon, which could be very, very funny, would be to send his berserks and then start hitting the gazelle away from the town center. If you ever manage to spot that. But Recon does see the Dwarven Armory, and he's going to be moving forward in the main base here for Recon. He's just going to be going for his stock standard opening, getting himself... Oh, he only puts 1 villager on gold, but getting himself 7 on food, most likely maybe 8, and then getting 4 onto gold and a temple and 4 onto wood, and they might be changing things up a little bit later. As all the goats getting grabbed here. One thing that's really important when playing at the very, very top levels is having an understanding of where goats are on a map. And Recon knows that the goats which potentially the Thor player is going to go and grab straight away are going to be behind his base. You see back here, there's goats over here, there's goats over here. So he goes in and just grabs those up. Now, Nullus is taking the top side, so he does manage to escape that sort of early game strategy from Recon. But Nullus unfortunately misses these 2 goats over here, and he's going to be setting himself to the middle of the map. Maybe, just maybe, he's going to be able to steal some back from Recon, but Recon is getting a huge amount of scouting done with that initial movement. No real lost time from him. Look at that. Look at his scouting. He goes straight here, goes around here, right? Goes around here, comes back, and then he's in his base to drop his temple. Really like it. I like that he puts the house down first and foremost, so there's really no lost time. And yeah, really smart play. And he is going to have a small goat advantage for the start of the game. And we'll see what comes next as the armory here for Nullus. He's got himself bronze armor. Well, not bronze armor. Copper armor, copper shields. Doesn't have himself copper weapons just yet. I'm sure he's going to be researching that one next. When he has the time for it. He's putting his temple down first. There's not really a huge rush to get to the second age, but I imagine he's going to advance first and then click his upgrade at this point, as it's time for probably 4 SETI here as well, given how I've seen these things go. I don't think Freya is a bad choice here for the Thor player, but to be honest, I want to see the Thor players getting aggressive when they're playing with Freya. They don't have to go for an early Dwarven Armory. You just play for the fast advance and the early pressure, something that I'm sure players like the Mister would value, but we don't see them a whole lot from a lot of other players who want to play a little bit more safe and in their base. But yeah, I imagine I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Mister doing some crazy like Thor builds in this tournament if he ever has to. Though he might not be wanting to pick Thor. It's not his style. Nonetheless. Great haul up. Recon for the time being. He's only got 3 dwarves. I'm a bit surprised on that. He's gone for 4 on wood, 9 on food. It's looking like he's going to be going for Mass Herser to kick this game off with 9 on food. That's a lot. It really is. He's getting a longhouse as well. And he is getting a couple of dwarves. As I imagine after he gets a couple of these, then he just goes straight in onto gatherers. That's why he's got so many on food. Finishing up on the chickens. We'll be able to move forward onto the boars and all the good stuff over here. As the longhouse is to come down for Nullus. He's going for raiding cavalry. Okay. There you go. A little bit of raiding cavalry shenanigans. But Nullus isn't really going to know what to expect here. But he's going double longhouse for, my guess, is just going to be berserks, throwing axemen, and all that good stuff. Berserk's generally getting countered pretty hard in the Norse mirror just by getting out a whole bunch of throwing axemen. But nonetheless, look at the goats. 22 here for Recon. Oh my god. To 4. Look at the scouting from Recon. That's so good. No, there's really not been much wasted. There's been like 0 wasted movement from the berserks. He just goes junk, 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 back up, gets the temple down, comes down, goes junk, 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 and he's good to go. That's wild. Okay, great haul for Recon up as well. There's the walls to come down onto the backside here for Nullus. And a little bit of a scouting shenanigans from Nullus. Unfortunately here, or well, fortunately for Recon, but unfortunately for Nullus, the raiding cavalry will be actually picking this one off. You've got to be super careful when going for these sort of raids. Just if your opponent's got 1 fast unit and your berserk is not that, it's going to get taken out. There's a couple more walls to come up over here. Raiding cavalry are going to be looking for something to kill here. He knows that there's nothing on here, but he does see that this is an option here. Look at how he dodges all of the line of sight, and at the very last moment, he pops out over here. Nullus, very much aware of potential raids coming his way, pulls back very quickly. But this is a lot of idle time cause. That's a huge amount of villagers getting pulled back. That in of itself was just a very, very large amount of damage. Like, that many villagers getting idled, 17, 30, 20 villagers getting idled. Let's just say it was for 5 seconds. That's 100 resources gone. Like, just 100 resources gone. That's a unit. One tiny raid, 4 raiding cavalry. That's just, yeah, it's huge. Nonetheless. Recon now looking to push forward. There is a slight military advantage here, and even though the armory advantage is in the hands of Nullus, doesn't really matter when you're playing against Loki, because Loki's got that bonus damage boost, 20%. So at the very best, it's like equal at the moment. As the wall's coming up to the top side, trying to secure these boars, he has to drop down a dwarven mine here as well, as this army is absolutely stonking. There is a big weakness to Herdman here, though, with what Recon's built. The berserks are out, so yeah, getting out a whole bunch of Herdman here would be really nice, as Nullus does get a great little attack in onto this spot. Gets a huge amount of damage onto some of these units here, but not really anything falling to her, so maybe a thrown axeman as well. Now there are a healthy amount of thrown axemen out, though, so you do have to be very careful if you are Nullus. Now Nullus can move over and get himself these boars, but he will be finishing up his berries first and foremost. His gold mine's going to be expiring soon as well, as Recon trying to get in onto this spot here. He's got to be careful. His raiding cavalry are blind. As Nullus comes through, tries to just get the tiniest bit of damage done, picking off 2, 3 raiding cavalry. Every little bit of damage here really, really matters. Nullus is in a fantastic position now. Great use of those berserks and shoot and scoot movement there, as well as the... Wow, he steals the goats, sends them up into the corner as well. Every little bit of goat here is mattering. Meanwhile, in the center of the map, Recon is enjoying the boar situation here as well, as Nullus just going to be pulling back. His villagers all idle. He's going to have to come out onto a secondary gold mine. He does have this position here. And with the villagers moving out over onto these boars, he can't really defend both. Now, luckily unluckily for Nullus, he does now mix up his food villagers into his, one of those spied villages into his food villages. So now this is a very, very obvious little situation for him over on this spot. I'm sure Recon is going to be getting over there. And now Nullus is going to make a decision as to where he's going to have his army. I think that Nullus, if he sends his army onto these boars here, right in the center, all the villagers in one spot, then he doesn't have much to worry about. If anything, Spy doesn't matter. He's just going to sit there and allow Recon to come and take a fight, no problems. But Recon at the moment already clicked up. No, not Recon. Nullus already clicked up through Bragi. Now there's a huge timing for Recon here as the Berserk's moving out. Got to be careful here. He's running straight into Throw an Axeman as the raiding cavalry going to get brought back, move back forward. He's going to look to try and break through this wooden gate here. Very much out of position for the time being here. Nullus has got to get over here. Quick, smart. The wall does give a big amount of warning. But again, it's a huge amount of idle time just caused by these tiny raids. I mean, I say tiny, it's a hefty amount of raiding cavalry, but it is a tiny raid as Recon says, I'm not going in there. I was just kidding, bro. Like, I've had enough. I'm just going to run away. No problems. As Nullus now charging forward a little bit early on this one. He's hit the next stage. He clicks the flaming weapons here to take the fight as the raiding cavalry manage to get directly on top of those Throw an Axemen as they're going to be getting torn to shreds here. This fight from Nullus is incredibly... The timing is amazing, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. It's the battle ball coming onto that back line here. There's no heroes for the Valkyrie, for the MIP unit spawns. Those Hearse are getting pulled back, and it looks like Recon says, I'm okay with just what we got there. Let's pull back and try and wait it out. If you ever got the pullback micro, you've got the advantage on these ones as he's trying to finish off the battle ball over here. The army here for Nullus looks like it is almost cleaned up. That one battle boar is getting huge value here. A couple of berserks getting converted as Nullus now starting his shoot and scoot micro, but now there's no flaming weapons remaining. It's still 40 military apiece here. This is very tense. Nullus looks like he may have found himself a fairly hefty advantage here, but he's got to be careful with how he's going to be converting this one. A whole bunch of battle boar makes a lot of sense, but then again, so too is Recon going to be making a whole bunch of trolls. So you also need to be thinking, well, maybe it's time to get some Goaty out here preemptively. Thank you for the prime, George, my friend. Appreciate you, my friend. My friend. What am I saying? I'm so dying. All right, Throw an Axeman to pull back here as... I mean, Nullus can get some shoot and scoot on. Losing these trolls is never a good thing. He does send in this troll over here. Nice control from Recon, dodging everything. He can snipe off the Berserk here as well. He does decide to do that. Still got to be careful as those troll numbers are going to grow. And Nullus is going to need an answer for a flaming weapons that's going to be coming for him now in the next little short space of time. So even while Nullus is kind of... He got a decent trade. He's got himself some favor now in the bank. But what does that matter? That's the big question. I think a whole bunch of battle boar... I mean, we've seen it time and time again. Battle boar, fantastic. But a whole bunch of trolls tend to deal with that. And look at this. Recon's got himself 5, 6, 7 trolls coming. Still no cave troll, which I'm really not liking. After you get like 3 or 4 trolls, getting cave troll out is really important. But Recon going to get himself back up to full population. And unlike Nullus, who went for a timing there, Recon, he doesn't have any timing he needs to worry about at the moment. He can just say, let's get full pop, then click flaming weapons, and that's going to be the way to go. As Nullus is trying to apply pressure here. He doesn't have any answer to all these trolls. This is the problem. And he's got to respect them. They do telegraph that they're attacking in a very big way. Like they say, hello, I am throwing a big boulder. And then they throw the boulder. And even then you can still run away and dodge it. So there is, they are very silly. It's now the heavy infantry to come through. Cave troll now going to be coming in as well. Do we see any Goaty? No Goaty for either player just yet. And what is Nullus doing over on this side? Hello? The dwarves, he turns a whole bunch of dwarves into berserks here as he's charging forward. The trolls here pick up their special ability there. Going to be throwing it at the battle ball, and there it goes. As the flaming weapons has been forced. Great raids. As the berserk's dying on this side, it looks like. And Nullus has to retreat back. He does still have a villager advantage after all is said and done, but he still has to deal with the trolls. The flaming weapons got a little bit of time left. in it. The battle ball here could be a nice little distraction for those raiding cavalry, so he might be able to survive this if he just turns around with this one. Going to have the Dwarven Mine to drop into his main base, as he will be pulling all the way back here. Meanwhile, a couple of Berserks to come through here. One battle ball is going to be a nice little distraction. Nullus has to micro on this, but the forward base here going to lose a whole bunch of military buildings. This is always painful. As Nullus just waiting this out, he's going, he needs some Goaty. He absolutely needs some Goaty to deal with the cave troll. Another little trick with Goaty Throw and Axeman wars is you can place the Goaty in front of your Throw and Axeman, and then normally they have more range, so they sit it behind. But if you put them in front, then all of a sudden the enemy Throw and Axeman are targeting down your Goaty instead of your Throwing Axeman, and that's going to be meaning their DPS goes down very, very hard in a very, very, very big way. But there's still a villager advantage for Nullus. Recon, however, has got the military advantage in a big way. As Nullus looking for a fight here, he's got to be careful. This is so dangerous to be doing this as the trolls turning in, taking a huge amount of or throwing a huge amount of damage onto the battle balls. Both those battle balls going down very, very quickly there. And Nullus still trying to make this fight happen as the Berserk's going to meet their demise instantly as they charge in onto those Throw and Axemen, into those counter units. There's more Throw and Axemen going down on the back. And Nullus there. One too many mistakes in this game, it seems. Recon manages to find the victory here. I do think that, you know, Nullus, with that Flaming Weapons timing, it was not, I think it was a little bit rushed. He wanted it with the surprise fact. That's why he charges in, clicks Flaming Weapons. But even with that said, the fight was okay. He just needed to be saying, okay, what happens after we take a fight in Norse Mirrors? Well, the myth units come out. So time for Goaty. Maybe going trolls himself in this situation wouldn't have been a bad idea. Using battle boars potentially as a raiding force rather than running into the actual trolls. The trolls are really good at dealing with battle boars, giving that damage. It's 90 pierce damage each. As you can see, like 11 trolls throwing 90 pierce damage. You're going to lose your battle boar. It's just going to happen. You have to dodge the special. It's kind of possible to dodge the special, but nonetheless, it didn't work out for Nullus in game one. Really well played by Recon. I love the raids. Tiny little 4 raiding cavalry raid to come in and just idling 20 units. Absolutely huge. And all the other good stuff there. Nonetheless, if you guys enjoyed this one, don't forget to hit the follow button. We'll move on to game number 2 and see who wins. Alrighty, we've got ourselves game number 2 as my scoreboard is slightly mixed up here. In the top of the map, we've got Recon up 1-0 in this best of 3 for the playoffs. He's playing as Zeus. And on the bottom side, we've got Nullus playing as Hades. Ooh, he's back with his Hades. I've always been a fan of Nullus's Hades. He's always been one of the players to beat on this god. So ridiculously good at just defending and staying alive. Like, he's just so good at it. But nonetheless, doc's coming up for both players here. Nullus looks like he's going to be getting his dock ever so slightly earlier, but Recon's going to be on his forward fish with that dock, ready to grab those. So both on the same side here. We got a Greek mirror on the map, Anatolia. So, I mean, a little bit of a backstory on Anatolia and all the stuff we've been seeing. So far, we haven't really seen any Greek mirrors. This is going to be the first one of the tournament. For me, at the very least. Maybe there's been some that I've missed. We've been seeing a lot of Norse getting played here. Haven't really seen the Egyptian all too much. Atlantean's being played here a little bit. But yeah, this is the first Greek mirror. So, I mean, Nullus is obviously very, very comfortable on his Hades. I know Recon is very used to playing hybrid water with Zeus as well. He's played it a lot of times, as well as played the Hades a lot of times. So, we'll see how it all goes. But I imagine we're going to be seeing a lot of interesting defensive play here from both players. Unlike in the last match, which was a little bit surprising for me in terms of how aggressive Nullus was playing. Both of these guys are defensive players. Like, I know Recon will come in here and say, I'm not a defensive player. I like to play aggressive. He's a defensive player, okay? He plays defensive. Nullus, on the other hand, he is definitely a defensive player. This guy, he's a big fan of let the game come to him and react rather than trying to force things most of the time. So we'll see who is gonna. Well, really, we won't see. Recon, he's playing Zeus here. He's forced in a way to make things happen. If he doesn't, he's going to be facing up against the extra range Peltast. He's going to be facing up against the Shafts of the Plague Archers. And he's not going to be able to find any advantage really with the Bellerophon, Lightning Storm sort of advantages that he has with Zeus. So he has to kind of win the game before he simply just gets pushed out of the game due to, I guess, getting stat checked, so to speak. But anyways, Recon, an incredibly aggressive second dock here. I think potentially Nullus is just a little bit too late on this one. He's already fished up his entirety of his side of the water here, whereas Recon has actually cut fish, gets 6, and then grabs the bottom side. So he's trying to steal just a little bit over here. I wouldn't mind seeing Nullus just say, great, no worries, I'm going to take these forward fishing spots here as well, and call it a day, because at least he can grab 1 or 2 of those if he just right clicks up to the front and starts to take them. But anyways, always shenanigans in Anatolia. This is one of those things that it's kind of like goats in a way. Like I don't like fighting over goats. I don't like fighting over fishing spots. Just like let's play a fair game. Everyone gets their fishing spots and we just call it there. That's what I want to play. But now let's see. He's being very, very generous actually to Recon. He could have come forward, grabbed these 2, and Recon would have had to then come forward to grab these positions here, which potentially Nullus could have built some ships and started to grab back for himself and maybe actually had an advantage after all is said and done. But Athena coming through for both players at exactly the same time. It's going to be what looks to be a 5-15. Still a handful of villagers on food here for Nullus, as it looks like he's going to be going for a fast heroic. On the top side here as well, Recon, he's doing exactly the same thing. It's amazing how similar this is. 3 villagers on food over here. 4 villagers on food over here, with the rest on wood and a couple on gold. Only 4 on gold. It's almost like these guys are scrimmed together or something, and that all of the I'm just gonna say it. All these guys, they hide their scrim games, but they play against the same players. So they're not hiding anything. Everybody knows everybody's strats. There's nothing. I'm yet to see anything like. I'm honestly yet to see anything surprising come through in these. The only player who's thrown a strategy out that I'm like, that's a little bit offbeat was Mini Yeti. So, and he won with it. So, I guess Mini Yeti is the only real player who's actually hiding strats. Everyone else is just sharing him around with everyone. Oh dear. Anyways, 1 Juggernaut to come through for both players here. And the heroes are going to be coming out. We've also got a very, very early Vaults of Erebus for Nullus, as the immediate damage going to be coming through. We do have a Pentaconta to come in as well here for Nullus, as he's trying to counter the Juggernaut and everything like that. Another Juggernaut for Recon. The thing is here, Recon can sit underneath his dock. This is the scary part. Like, you can't really fight this with the Pentaconta because the dock is like an extra archer ship. So it's a little bit tricky to make this work. But he does have the Pentaconta through, and he's going to be charging in here to try and get some damage, and then immediately double trireme here for Recon, as the fishing ship situation on the front is going to be getting dealt with. And then all of a sudden here, I mean, Nullus can just go into mass Juggernauts for a little bit if he wants to. He's got to be very careful as he pulls back. And he is going to be getting trireme Juggernauts, getting everything out. And an armory to come down for Nullus as well. As what is happening over here for Recon? Recon's actually getting some units out. So he's going for a couple of hoplites. For Nullus, it's very, very tricky to actually chase these hoplites around, as the Minotaur sending those hoplites flying, but he does get caught out here. Not forcing a bolt on this position is pretty unfortunate. Really, the way that you want to be using this Minotaur is to sneak it around into the main base of the Zeus, and when you spot the heroes out of position, you run it in, force a bolt, and then you can't, your Skylar or your Nemean Lion or your Manticore doesn't get bolted in the in the heroic age. Oof. Anyways, loses the Minotaur, so that's a big win there for Recon, and he's going to be taking some, putting some pressure onto this top position. There is a Pentacontra over here to assist. He does a lot of damage to the units, actually. Unless the Achilles going to come through and attempt to do something here as well, but this is pretty brutal. Recon's kind of got all the advantage here as a couple of archer ranges to come through for Nullus. Nullus realizing he probably can't just sack this. Maybe he can to some degree if he's ready to put up another couple of docks down the bottom here and just buy his time to stay alive. Picks off the Minotaur. Nice one. Couple of triremes to get just a little bit of damage done here with the Pentacontra to help as well. Nice defense from Nullus as he does click up through Aphrodite. Having a curse here is going to be a big deal, but no Underworld does hurt a little bit as Ajax getting chased around. Meanwhile, the fighting over on this side has kind of grinded to a halt. The Juggernauts sitting outside of the range of the docks. Do they? I don't think they do, actually. I think they're 20 range apiece. Anyways, now Nullus under attack here from Recon as he isn't paying attention on this one. Loses a ship. Going to be pulling back. Loses another. Almost loses a Pentacontra there as he pulls back underneath his dock. There's a lot of naval ships here, and Recon going to move his military down to the bottom to take this position out, as Nullus might need to just say, all right, take that bottom, we'll sack that, send all of his military up to the top position. And that's exactly what he's going to be doing. So, okay, you take that position, we take the top position, and we call it a day here. But this is a really, really nice push from Recon. A couple of hoplites just kind of caught out in the middle of the map. Are we seeing some boats coming through here for Recon? It looks like he is. Recon actually sticking it out a little bit longer than I would expect in the heroic age. Sorry, in the classical age. As there's the Aphrodite. He could curse this and pick off all 7 of those hoplites. That's exactly what he's going to do, but that does give Recon all the pigs, which I'm sure he'll just send back home. And now the Paspis to start coming through. I definitely think Nullus needs to be focusing on that top water here. He can't be... While he does have Vaults of Erebus, which kind of gives him a little bit of economic freedom to say no worries on some stuff, I think he needs to be pushing up to the top and killing off these positions. There's that Bolt on the Scala as well. And the other thing is when Recon hits the heroic age, this initial dock that he's put down, that's going to be the Scala. But if he picks this dock off, then the Scala is now on the bottom side of the map. That's another Scala to come through. Nemean Lions looking for some villager kills here. Moving in to try and hit some villagers on the gold mine. But underneath all these towers and town center and all that stuff, it can be a little bit tricky to actually make this work. As the Nemean Lion doesn't have the special ability here. There he goes. Misses it though. Restoration down as well. That's a big god power usage. As these Scarlet need to get some heads here. He's got to push forward. He's got to take some fights. Recon does have himself the upgrade mythic heroic fleet, which turns his trireme into super powered myth unit killing machines. As he comes through, he's going to pick off at least one of those triremes nice and quickly, but still no secondary heads here as they're starting to come through, and that's going to be a little bit of an advantage for him, but they're all both half HP'd as the army's still charging in to kill off this tower. This is nice here. Recon actually has got no gold income for a little bit. If Nullus just continues and plays this really nicely, potentially a really forward fortress as well on this position, Recon might just lose the game on a gold star at this point. Especially because he's got all of these Paspist on the fight as well, which is going to be huge. As Recon pulls back, there's the bronze to come in, a restoration as well, and that was forced out by Nullus. Great play, he can just retreat back, no problems. There is a Scalar on this position as both the Scalars there for Nullus falling. One thing you get from Aphrodite, if I take a quick look, is you can get the Argo. Much better than getting out Pentacontra. Just get the Argo out, and you can clean up the Scalar pretty quickly there. Nonetheless, 18 seconds left of bronze as Nullus retreats all the way back into his main base, it looks like here. Nice little Nemean Lion roar. He's still pumping out those Nemean Lions for the time being here. 3 villages there. Does he have the golden apples? Oh, golden apples. As the Pentaconda is still coming through. I think this is a pretty hefty mistake here from Nullus. He's going to have to sack that water, it looks like, and just go for the gold starve. Recon at the moment, 1,700 gold left in his main base. The army here for Nullus is looking very, very nice with those Nemean lines. I'd love to see Nemean Rex coming through as well, just to boost them up even more as he hits another stun onto the Hydra, as Hydra will end up falling here. There it goes down. Nullus charging in huge stuns to come through, but he does overlap them, unfortunately, onto this side as well, causing a lot of problems for Recon. His Recon's positioning here, very, very nice, manages to force Nullus back for a little bit. There's the heavy upgrades, as we see heavy ranged soldiers and infantry coming through as well for Nullus, but a little bit late. Villager differential, there's a 5 villager advantage for Nullus, but there's a huge fishing ship advantage for Recon at this point. You see Nullus trying to sneak his way back onto this position, gets another dock up. He does have those 10 fishing ships. He wants to get them back to work. Not losing them is pretty big. Does he have his fishing ship upgrades? Both players do. Sniping down the market over here. Recon sneaking himself this gold mine. Unfortunately for Nullus, Pegasus is missing that ever so slightly. And we do see a villager to come down to the bottom here. Going to be looking for some more stuff as the fishing ship's now popping back out. Going to be going on to the... getting a little bit of that income happening yet again. And I think in total, maybe Recon with all of the fish, with like an extra 9 fish, or actually 18 fish, I should say, he is in the lead in terms of income here, given the differential, but it's close. It's not anything that'll cause a loss or a victory at the moment. As the villagers to move up to the top side here. No second restoration for either player. And really right now, heavy infantry is a must. 175 population apiece. Upgrades. Let's take a quick look. No upgrades for Nullus. This is going to be the big thing that hurts. Lots and lots of gold, but no upgrades. As now we're going to see Sarissa coming through, which might be the big change. Look at how Recon splits up his army as well. This is really, really important. And he has got the defensive positioning here on lock. Now, what Nullus can do to take advantage of the thing that of what Recon's doing here is Nullus can just poke in with his Peltast. He's got the range advantage. That's one way to go about it. Charges forward. Going to be taking the fight. He's got himself the heavy infantry here. Sniping down those back Toxotes beautifully here. But the Nemean Lions going down very, very quickly on the start of this fight. The Pacifists over here need to get onto the top infantry units, as it looks like they might be falling, and then it's just a whole bunch of Peltas remaining here for Nullus, as he's going to have to retreat back. A nice defense from Recon, as he's going to be able to continue through in this game. Lots and lots of units queued up at the moment. I'd love to see some Toxotes or something to come through to deal with this front line, but it's mostly just Peltast here, and I think there's only a handful of military buildings as well for Nullus. And look at this, the resources are coming through, a fortress to come down. Recon's next plan here, after holding that, is to go to the Mythic Age. But a good fight now for Nullus, as Recon's army looks like it's falling pretty quickly here. A Minotaur also coming in to help out as well. So there's still no golden apple. This is such a insanely good upgrade, which it seems everyone forgets. Golden apples is like the only reason I want to go Aphrodite. Give me that extra 20% favor income and we'll call it a day. But Recon here is actually continuing this fight a little bit more so than I would have expected. He does have his fortress up now, so he's got something to retreat back to. Villagers need to pull off of that food. They're not going to be able to grab that anytime soon. As more units to come in. One thing here for Nullus to think about is a forward fortress himself. As he's trying to push underneath this and kill off some villagers. Preventing the gold income for the time being is absolutely huge. There is one little cheeky villager on this bottom position there. But also, at any point here, Recon can push forward and start attacking this. But Nullus has got full control, it looks like. There is a world here where Recon can go into, I don't know, 10 villages onto favor and just pump out Skylar, which could be a little bit scary for what Nullus has got here. But Nullus causing a ton of idle time and great raids to come through. 5 hoplites and these hoplites over here as well. This is what Recon needs. A little bit of a distraction here, and the units have to retreat back, losing a lot of HP, and Deuterinos on the retreat as well. But a couple of pacifists to come in and be somewhat of a defense here on this spot. The hoplites will win this fight, but ever so slightly. As where to next? Always got to be thinking about getting yourself in front in these sorts of games, not trying to just finish the game in one foul swoop. It doesn't really work like that. It only ever works like that if your opponent makes a really big mistake. And players like Recon aren't going to be making these sorts of mistakes. You've got to be taking it slow, sniping units, playing really, really solid gameplay, and trying to convert your small advantages. And again, I'm thinking that Nullus here, I really want to see him splitting up those infantry units away from the archers so he can push forward, snipe units, and use that range advantage that he's got. He's now getting himself his own Sarissa, bronze weapons, bronze armor. Hera, however, has managed to be clicked up here by Recon. He has got through to the Mythic Age now, and this is going to be a dead army for Nullus. Nullus has not managed... Maybe taking a fight here would be a nice way to continue, but he's going to be pulling back here for the time being. It's still a full population army apiece here, it looks like, though. As the Peltast charging forward, and it looks like Nullus says, I better get out of here. He's retreating up to the top, loses his front line. He's getting a second town center as well. This is going to be a little bit risky. We'll see if he can manage to mitigate damage from that lightning storm and figure this out. As the villagers on this position will have to retreat back. Zom coming through. The big Zom. As Recon, I don't think he's going to mind too much about this. He is charging forward a little bit too far, though, it looks like, as the army decides, okay, we'll get some snipes on the retreat. And this is going to have to come down to some very, very smart play here from Nullus to mitigate damage here, or keep himself alive while his economy carries him through. But he is losing villagers behind this, where you'd think he'd be in front on villagers considering the Mythic Age is just coming through. He actually isn't. Town center coming through for Recon as well. But there are gold mines kind of spread out all over the map. One here, one down the bottom, so it could be all fine. As the army to charge through for Recon, though, he knows he's got Lightning Storm here. Jumping into the town center makes some sense, but he doesn't have enough garrison space here to keep everything alive, as there's the Mythic Age, and I'm sure Lightning Storm will get dropped down, as he does pop it right on the back there as well. And this army of Nullus, I mean, he's going to turn around and try and get some damage done here, but it is all going to be getting erased by this Lightning Storm. There's a handful of units managing to stay alive, but there's no real income. There's no real resources in the bank here. And Recon's got a full population army. And this is Zeus as well. He's just going to be able to break through, kill this position, take out this top spot. We see a fortress to come down. But any amount of delay here for Nullus is very important. The villager differential is still very, very close. Do we see an immediate dock upgrade? Not just yet there. It's coming now. And Nullus slowly getting himself units back up. The hoplites just checking everything out. This is the gold mine that Nullus is on. So Nullus has got the defense here for a little bit. He might be able to just survive here. He just has to bide his time. Sit back, get himself the full population. Yes, he's going to probably have to fight against champion units, but he has the range advantage. And he sort of snipes with those Peltas while it's going on. Now the Bellerophon is in. That's a big, big boost to the army strength of Zeus at this sort of a point in the game. There's a military academy archery range to come through. Nullus pulling back ever so slightly. He's taking a fight down a ton of military population here, but Recon says, all right, I'll pull back. Try and bait you in a little bit further. As now Nullus going to be losing his front line as well, as he has to pull back those Peltas to take out the back line as well. Toxotes here will go down very quickly. More units to come in. Can Nullus hold here or not? It's looking very, very tough. That Medusa on the back is also a very scary unit. Watchtower actually going to be coming through as well. And in that moment, Nullus does decide the game is lost and Recon takes the dub. But you got to look at this series from the perspective of, wow, this was close. Recon almost lost on this gold mine here. And he almost lost on this gold mine here. Recon pulled out all the stops to survive. I think if Nullus had played it a little bit slower on the attack, sniping units and utilizing his range advantage with those archers, with those peltast, to start poking and prodding, and then forcing Recon to start maybe take a fight there, I don't think that Recon actually was going to be able to hold this. I think Nullus really found himself in a really good spot here. I love the usage of those Nemean lions as well, but he's got to probably get the upgrade for them. Once you get 2 or 3, get Roar of Orthus. This technology doubles the area of effect of that stun, and that's really, really big. Double the area of effect of the stun, and then you can kind of go ahead and use them on manually, use them manually so that they're not overlapping. You get 3 seconds of stun in a fight. That's absolutely huge. But nonetheless, well played there by Recon. A good win. If you guys enjoyed it, please continue to follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Alrighty, we're going to be taking a look at some of the Gimmity games. Whoop, that's not how you do that. We're going to be taking a look at some of the Gimmity games from a Clash of Immortals, the EGC TV shenanigans here. We're in day 1 of the playoffs, and we're going to be watching Kavo playing against Luki. I missed out on some of these games, so going to be giving him a cast to Rooney and seeing exactly what happened rather than just checking out the old scores and just making your own assumption on what happened. We got to figure it out. Now, I already have an inkling. I have to do a little quick thing over here of what Kavot's going to be doing. So let's have a quick look over at what Luki's going for here. He's already managed to get himself 1 favor. He's clicked the Great Hunt over here, and he's going to be ready to do some stuff early on. Now, I'm of the opinion here that of the gods that can deal with what Ra is doing with the Sphinx shenanigans, I think that Odin is actually one of the ones that can. Like, people go, oh, mass Sphinx. Well, obviously Thor's got to be pretty good against that. Not wrong. Thor's completely fine against the Sphinx, right? I think Odin's also got an angle here, and that angle is inside of Great Hunt. I think using this God Power twice in your main base is really, really nice. So if you kill off, say, 3 Aurochs, leave the next 2 here as well for later, come over and kill off these chickens, or just quickly move out onto secondary hunt really early on in the game. If we take a quick look, he could move over onto this, eat this, he could come over and eat this, and then obviously take a later advance time to the classical age, and he could be in a good place there to just eat food in his base, make Hersa, and say, all right, come and kill me. Now, one mistake here that I think Luki is making, we're going a little bit more of an analytical angle here, is he's actually mining gold on his back gold mine. Now, if you're going to be forced to have to fight, so may as well have that position on the front here with like 1,500 gold left over here, rather than have this gold mine expired, then move forward and not be able to survive on that position there. So we'll see how it's all going to go, but I know Kavoth, he's very, very good at these sorts of Sphinx plays. This is almost his bread and butter to some degree. Going to be very challenging to beat him in this matchup, but you know, if there's any situation here for Luki to have some success, this is going to be it. Which god do you think is the best ever for a free-for-all where you have 100% sure to get to the Wonder Age? I think it's Uranus. Uranus or Gaia. Maybe Gaia. And you go Hecate and you go Thea. Thea Hecate. Probably Uranus. Yeah, Thea Hecate with Uranus. No, I think that's the best. I'm not going to tell you why, but I think that's the best. That's the best I've seen so far. There could be something else that I'm missing. Anyways, let's talk about this game. So, gold mines on the map here for Lukey at the top. Nice town center behind this gold mine over here. Nice gold mine up here as well. It's going to be a little bit tricky to get this fully protected, but there is walls here that he could throw up and start looking to make a fight inside of the walls to defend against those Sphinx, which could work there as well. He's deciding to go through Freya. No surprises there. And we are seeing also on the other side here, Kavo going through Bast with a 445. So there's going to be most likely a third monument thrown up when he affords it. It's going to be, what, 200 gold, 200 food, 200 gold for that one. So he just wants to finish that as fast as he possibly can. And now he can drop it down. I'm sure it's going to come down close to the center here. And he's going to flip his Pharaoh around, do all the cheekiness. As there's the monument, and he is off to the races. This is actually a fairly wonkily placed monument. I would have assumed it would be over here, so it would hit this, but maybe he is aiming... No, I think this is just a wonky placed monument. He's missing out on his lumber camp, unfortunately. Anyways, on the other side here, we aren't seeing Lukey grabbing himself any sort of fast second Valkyrie, and he's not going for Dizablot just yet, making himself the Great Halls. It's not like a rush to do this, but what I want to see here from most own players is the early Dizablot. If you get early Dizablot, then all of a sudden, the Sphinx, they are very, very killable. They are very, very killable. Apparently he made them weird so that he couldn't get them undermined. I'm pretty sure Undermine hits all three of these. I'm pretty sure it does. Alright, it's fine. Anyways, Valkyrie out, searching. You still have to be careful not to really attack this. The other option is to just get 2 Valkyries out right now, and then you can shut down the early Sphinx raids. But yeah, early Valkyrie, early Dizablot for Shield Maiden Valkyrie, early second Valkyrie. That's your answer to this early game pressure of the Sphinx. So you can basically force the Sphinx back, and he has to wait to get a bunch more. Has to be very, very careful with them. Can't send one off one way, one off the other way. Has to send them all in inside of themselves, and then all of a sudden you can kind of really help defend yourself. Have the Hersa in place, and also healing up can be a great way to kind of defend all of this stuff. But I like that Luke is just getting his walls up. He's getting his Hersa. I want to see an armory, in all honesty. Get watchtowers, get an armory, live the dream. He's actually come forward onto this gold mine now that he has seen the Bast, realizing there's not going to be any Wadgets to sit out the front and just shoot him off this. And he is throwing an armory. So he's going for a fast heroic, which I'm not upset with. I think this is a good play. But he has missed that second Great Hunt. So if you're going for a fast heroic, the second Great Hunt is really, really helpful. He could have saved a couple of those Aurochs. Come over here. You can see he's at 21 favor. Eat all the chickens. He would head up to 25 favor, and he'd be able to potentially click Great Hunt and get even more food for him to make more Hersa out. And then he can jump over onto a whole bunch of wood and then get a whole bunch of those Goaty. Now, obviously, there is going to still be a problem with Goaty getting countered by slingers, but, you know, then Kavo has got to actually react to this and do something different. So we'll see how it's all going to go. Lots of favorite for Lukey here as he is just about to move around. We are going to be seeing the temple getting targeted down. This is something that I've noticed that Kavo does quite a lot. He loves to kill off the temple. It is a big weak spot here that unfortunately Lukey sort of tried to kind of hide a little bit, but now the units are inside of the base here. Hersa are going to be retreating back. The villagers have to pull all the way back as well. Tower is going to get torn down at this point as well. And the axe cleaning up a whole bunch of units. Skadi has now been clicked through as the villagers have to pull off of the chickens. Not the chickens, the berries. Another idea here is if you didn't have the favor after you killed all the chickens, well, come over onto the goats, and then all of a sudden you're able to click that bad boy. But nonetheless, more walls to come down as Kavo does have to pull back ever so slightly. He's got to know that there's a heroic age coming through. So the question is, what's he going to do to react to that? As some walls coming up here, the house is going to get broken down here as well. And he's very, very tense for the moment. for Lukey, because Kavoth at any point here, you can just click Eclipse and just try and take down the main town center. There's just not enough. Hersa, he lost too many. He's actually hurting a little bit at the moment to this early game pressure. There's a longhouse to go down. Will allow those Sphinx through, but Kavoth still playing very, very cautiously. Doesn't want to go into this enemy base just yet. Another great haul to come down as the Axemen are going to try and make their way through. Lukey defending nicely, pulling back. He can move over onto this position. The forward wall getting broken down as well, as Kavoth is hard pressuring this main base. This is a very, very tough position to be in. No temple for that free Frost Giant, but he can throw it down at any point and get himself out. The Frost Giant is now immediately a whole bunch of Goaty to come through. There's the wall to come back up onto this side. Kavoth pulls back, and as he sees the Heroic Age, he has to think, okay, well, maybe we're going to go Heroic Age ourselves now, or start thinking about the next sort of play, because otherwise all the Goaty come through, and if he goes for a full pop here, he's just going to get caught out. He might get caught out here, and then just find himself having a very, very difficult time in this game. But yeah, the Goaty need to come through, and Lukey at the moment getting himself the big fat Winter Harvest upgrade. That's always a nice one. More houses to come through, and we will be seeing Sobek as a god of choice here, which makes a lot of sense. You go Sobek, you click Locust, you click Eclipse, and it cleans up a lot of HP of these units in order to then have the army break through it all. So Luke has got to be careful with that as well, but he is going to be hitting some raids while these units are all pulling back. Great find on this top side here as the Ravens are in. Good reaction there from Kavoth, but he will be most likely losing a villager or two here. Luke, just going to claim the one villager kill and I imagine run away. Nice, very, very safe raids. I like the quick decision making there as the Sphinx is going to be coming in. They do have 6.1 speed versus the 6 speed of these raiding cavalry. However, he can just turn around and take this fight now with the Goaties, as Kavoth's going to be retreating back. Did he get himself early ballistics? That's not in just yet. He kind of needs that ballistics, as now Lukey is going to be very, very happily looking for a fight. I imagine Kavoth, however, is going to be able to throw down a Migdol very, very shortly here, as the villagers pulling around the side. We'll be seeing them getting caught out here, as Lukey does manage to get a couple of villager kills. This is really, really big for him at this point in the game, as one villager to go down, 2 villagers going down, 3 villagers going down there as well, and the priest, 4 villagers going down. Great raid there. Kavoth does have himself the skin of the rhino, but now the units coming through. You've got to be careful. He's got Forest Fire. It might be worthwhile to drop that just so he has a retreat away here, a clean retreat away, but he's just holding on to it. Heavy raiding cavalry now in. So the Sphinx are looking at the bottom of the map. They might be able to sneak into that main base and get some serious damage done, as a Migdol stronghold over onto the bottom side of the map, claiming a gold mine. Kavoth is always out of line with his villager positioning, so you can really sort of catch him out with this. That's why he's lost a whole bunch of villagers up there, but in doing that, he's managed to also get the bottom side of the map sorted out. So it's a nice little trick there. Sacrifice a couple of villagers for one position, and obviously if he doesn't get punished, he's even more happy. But Rock over here getting sniped down. We see a hill fort to come up. I'd love to see some walls coming up over here as well, as now the Sphinx coming into the main base. Lukey is paying attention nice and quickly here. That's a huge amount of damage on that one. The villagers out of the open as he's not completely walled in. We do have a big locust to come through. There's even more villagers getting taken down. Now it's 29 to 37 as the Sphinx to pull out of here. It's not a bad idea to just frost this up, call it a day, but the raiding cavalry coming into the main base here as Lukey is looking for some sort of kill. This is going to be an overreaction, I think, from Lukey. He feels like he's got a little bit of a green light to attack the main base, but now the Sphinx are going to come through. They're so quick here at 6.9 speed, and he's got to get out of here. He's going to be losing raiding cavalry, and having lost all those villagers is a really, really big problem. Now, the big saving grace here for Lukey is his army composition is really, really nice. He can pull out the top. He's got raiding cavalry. He's got Goaty. At the moment, the only real unit here for Kavoth is going to be the Camel Riders. He does have 9 of those, so there has to be some sort of an answer for that to come through. I like the idea of just getting out a whole bunch of Frost Giants now as well for For Lukey, that's going to deal with those Camel Riders nicely. And he is actually going in for the Herdman, as Kavoth trying to be sneaky, hiding those Camel Riders, but the Herdman already queued up. But then this does mean a very, very difficult raid, a fight to take. Now with Frost, that can always be very, very nice there as well, as the army here for both players kind of just walking around each other, neither player seeing each other. This could be very, very dangerous for whoever gets the most out of position. As a town center getting dropped down here, the raiding cavalry coming through to hit this position, as the units coming up to the top side here, looking to push off of this gold mine and everything else. The villagers into the Migdol stronghold for the time being here. Looks like that's actually going to get torn down. Meanwhile, the Camel Riders over here, the Herdman can come up and actually deal with this, but I don't know if Lukey's paying attention onto that one all too well, as the villagers making a break for it. Goaty over here to start trying to kill off a couple of these units, as the Migdol getting left alive for the time being, trying to get all the value, as he does decide to just click Frost onto this army over here, as the hill fort still getting targeted down. We've got Sphinx now coming up onto this side to actually help take out the Herdman. Great decision making from Kavoth here. This Frost, and he's leaving the Migdol stronghold alive as well. But a couple of Herdmen going to be getting some good damage done onto the Camel Riders, as Kavoth not paying attention. But those Sphinx clean up the hill fort very, very quickly, and all of a sudden the advantage here that Lukey has managed to bring back to himself is now going to be maybe gone. I'm not sure. We see one Sphinx going down, a second Sphinx going to be going down as well, a third Sphinx on this side going to be finding its demise here, as the dwarves going to be turning around and actually fighting here. The Herdman going to be more than enough to actually hold. There's only a 6 villager advantage for the time being, as another Locust gets dropped down, but a huge amount of villagers here for Kavoth are falling. There are a healthy amount of Goaty over here as well, as he's going to be able to start targeting down the Sphinx as well before they even get the value in. But he's got to be careful on this fight. The military differential is pretty close, but the heavy raiding cavalry are looking very, very nice here. However, it's looking like Kavoth's army is just a little bit too much quality at the moment, as the army of Lukey does fall down in a really, really big way. 50 military population remaining here for Lukey somewhere, but a lot of it looks like it is in the shape of Herdman. It's up onto the top side. The Camel Rider's cleaning up a couple of units. He's pulling up to the top here. There's only really one fight left he can take. The gold mine in the center of the base here with 190 left in it. It's not a whole lot, and he doesn't have any food income either. As the Herdmen do manage to jump straight onto the Camel Riders, but Lukey doesn't want to play it out anymore. He feels like he's too far behind. He is too far behind in terms of military. Unfortunately, I don't think that Frost was the best Frost he could possibly do here. You want to try and catch the army out so you can clean it up, but in this position here, he couldn't quite get it, and that was just such a great decision from Kavoth to send all those units up onto this position here, and Lukey didn't quite react to that well enough. He needed some heroes up to the top to kind of defend against that, with the Herdman as well. A couple of random Herdmen down to the bottom here, which he needed to have up the top. If he cleaned up all those Camel Riders and the Sphinx at the top here, I think he's actually in a really, really good spot and able to actually go on to maybe have an advantage, if not win this game here. But yeah, taking this fight here, he didn't really need to do that either. He could have ran away and just continued along. He does have the villager advantage at the moment, and interestingly enough, resource-wise, he is in front. So realistically here, this game comes down to units killed, lost, and if you take a bad fight at the end here, lose all your dudes, that's going to be a little bit tricky for just a 4 villager lead and 1,000 resources to pull you back into the game. But well played here from Kavoth, gets the win. If you want to watch the second game of this series, I did put it up in my complete cast. Is it on EGC TV? Trying to remember? Yes, we did this cast with AWOL Iron Maiden on EGC TV, so that is in the thing. I will put a link somewhere. GG.